I don't know if I ever told this story, but I'm here with the guys. We're having coffee early in the morning. So here's what happened. So did I tell this story? I don't know if I told this story. Hey, Bear. Hey, Bear. Bear's on a rampage. So we're looking for this famous waterfall called letter W waterfall. So we're just like walking the whole length of like Sumatra. Right? You're just going across there. And nobody knew where it was. It's pre-internet. The locals didn't know what letter W was. Nobody knew, but I knew there was this killer waterfall, right? So I'm got to find it, right? So I started. Me and these two Swedish girls, right? We're just like walking through the jungle, trying to find a place to stay and everything. And so finally, like, what happened? Some guy tried to rip me off, and I got in this huge thing where this guy had a knife. And long story, I took this guy out. I took this guy out with a knife, and then the whole town like supported me because it turns out he was like a bully. So like, all the kids were like following me out of town. Like they were calling me. What are they calling me? What was it? Arnold Schwarzenegger or something. They're like just, they knew it from the TV show and movies, So they were like supporting me. So we were walking out of town, and it's like the middle of a festival. We couldn't get on a bus. We're like fucked. And then finally this guy comes up to us, and he's like super young, and he's like, would you stay at my house, in the jungle, right? So we're like, please, So we go to his house, and I look at him. I'm like, how old are you, right? He's like, I'm 14, and he's the man of the house, right? So then his wife comes out, and she starts making us food. I'm like, how old are you? She's like, 13. So they're married, right, in the jungle, right? And so we're in their house, and they gave us their only blanket, right? So me and these two Swedish girls. So I had just gotten in a fight with the guy with the knife, and the girls were sweet, so they kept trying to grab my dick. They were trying to do a threesome. Swear to God, that night, because it turned them on so much. It was so crazy, dude. The knife thing was crazy. I won't get into that part. But anyway, it was fucking insane, okay? So then they just thought it was the hottest thing. We're in the jungle. I took this guy on. So then they're trying, I'm like, I'm trying to sleep. It's one blanket. It's freezing in the jungle, man. At night, you guys fucking freezing, right? So I didn't get hardly any sleep. Anyway, we woke up. They made us breakfast. And it was just a trip. So we left. And the guy's like, I know where you're going. So he pointed the way. So we started walking. And then I hear this. I'm like, that's it, man. The waterfall's up there. So we find this little trail. And there's like a stone steps down to the. We finally see it, right? We can see it because in the jungle, everything's dark. You don't see sunset. You don't see sunrise. You don't see shit in the jungle. Like, it's always dark, even in the middle of the day, because there's just so much shit above you all the time, trees everywhere. So, because it was still the real jungle, right? And it was like the real jungle then in like 1990, but then there would be parts where it was all like tea grove. So it wasn't like 100 years ago, but it was like the jungle part was jungle, right? So anyway, so then we saw the stone trail. We see that waterfall. I'm like, that's it, right? So we started going down, and then the stone steps only went like halfway down, and the girls came with me, right? And we're looking, and then it gets sketchy at the bottom, and it's like there's no more steps. So I just took off my shoes, and I started like climbing down, like basically rock climb down to the waterfall. And I'm sitting there, and the mist is like blowing me, right? I couldn't get in the water because it's too sketchy. It wasn't that it was that big, but it was by myself. There was slippery rocks. There was nobody. We didn't know there was nothing. It was just jungle, right? So I didn't want to take a chance of getting in. But I just stood there, and it's blowing me. And I'm like, this is fucking, I'm looking up at them. And I'm just thinking, fuck, this is the best fucking adventure ever, right? But it had just started, dude. It had just started. So then I climbed up the mud. Looking back, it was totally stupid. It was so sketchy, the climb. But anyway, I got back up to the stairs, and I'm looking at them, and like when you just have been looking for this waterfall for like days, and it just had a fight with a guy. I mean, the jungle, and it's like the mist and just the fucking trees, and I was just so elated. I was just like, I was just smiling, ear to ear. And I look up at the girls, and I'm just like, and I'm coming up, and all of a sudden I'm looking up at them, and I'm not looking at my feet. I'm barefoot, right, in the jungle, right. And then all of a sudden I just had this like super instinctual fucking thing, like just instinct. I just thought, look down. And as I was, just in a thousandth of a second, as I was walking up, and as I looked down, I'm stepping with, with my bare feet onto a cobra. And there's a cobra, and he's totally ready to strike. He's got his neck is like fully out wide, and my foot is like literally like as I'm stepping on him, his head is going down to the bottom, and I'm just about to step on his body where he's definitely going to bite me. His mouth, he's ready, his neck, and he didn't know what to do. Like he wasn't like trying to strike me, but I was like stepping on his face, right, with my body weight. So of course he's going to bite me, right? And he's like ready to finally bite me. And I just saw that it was like, and I just, in an instinct, I just dove backwards. I did like a dive off a diving board. It's stone steps down to the it's like steep jungle. I just went down and just boom, 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 just my head just bouncing off the rocks. Like it was like, fuck, I don't know how far down it was. This fucking sketchy as fuck. And I'm just like, good. And but I didn't get bit, right? So I'm just like, oh. Then I came back up and I waited. I had to wait forever because the path was only like a foot wide. And then it's just like, I didn't know how many snakes there were. There was definitely more, right? There's one, there's more. So I had to wait forever until he finally got done sunning, and then he moved to the side. And then I just ran by him with my bare feet. And I ran by him. I got my shoes. And now I'm just like feeling like, whoa, my heart's just going, right? And the girls were up there, and they didn't see the snake because they were up at the top. But they saw what happened, obviously. And so then I come up there, and I'm with them, and I'm just like, I'm just so excited, right? So we started walking down the road to look for some town or something to take a bus. And then we looked down the valley, just like fucking like, swear to God, like 20 minutes later, 10 minutes later, we're walking down the valley, and we're walking down the road, and we see this. There's like a valley to the left, and the jungle valleys are super deep, and they have these like huge trees. I'd never seen trees like this. I don't know how tall they are. They're like insane. They're like redwoods. They're so big, and they go all the way from the bottom of the valley, and they'll come out. They're just huge trees, right? So I was looking at those things. I was like, fuck. And then we hear these weird sounds, and I'm like, what the fuck is it? It was the weirdest sound. It's like, yee, just like this weird sound. And then we look. It's what are they? Were they orangutans? They were. I think they're the whatever's in Sumatra. They're like the big apes.
Orangutan.
Yeah, probably orangutans. There's another one. There's gorillas, orangutan. I think it was orangutans. But anyway, they were like wild orangutans in the top of the tree, in the top of the jungle tree. And they were all by themselves just having fun, and they were swinging. And when they swing, they yell like people. And the jungle, the way the sound was, is that it was so loud. It sounded like there was like a microphone just in our ears, and they were just like yee! just swinging, and then they would just do that over and over. And I was just sitting there watching them and listening, and me and the girls were just, and the sun was, because we were on a hill, so you could it wasn't dark, it was like bright, it was like sunny, and we're looking down, and all this shit just happened in like one day. And I was just thinking, fuck, man, this is living, man. I'm just like, fuck, this is, I'm never going to fucking be in a cubicle, man. No fucking way. That was it, man. That was probably the best day of my life, probably.
Fuck, I missed the whole first part of that.
Don't worry, it's recorded, yeah. Yeah, there we go.
You must have nurse yourself back to health.
Nothing happened. I just banged my head a few times, and I didn't get bit. Yeah, I was fine. Yeah.
The other guy by the Swedish girl.
Oh, dude, the knife fight was intense, dude. The guy had a knife. I didn't have a knife. It was like,
Cakes and waterfalls.
yeah, all in one day.
Have a monkey,
Yeah.
man. That's all you can do.
Michael Jackson was not there, but that was great. That was great. It was funny because they never tried to fuck me again. It was just that night, right after the thing.
Couldn't help themselves.
Yeah, they never like when I was thinking when it was warmer, because it was so cold. There's no fucking way, I wasn't gonna. Yeah, and plus I was already kind of picky with girls. Like one girl was really hot, the Swedish girl, and the other girl was kind of not that hot. So I was not feeling like
It's all or nothing.
it wasn't like the only time in my life. I was like, okay, this is pretty interesting, but it wasn't. If they would have both been super hot, then I probably would have done it. even though it was freezing ass, But I don't know if I can get hard on when it's that cold. Like, I was fucking cold. And no blanket, right? You know what I mean? So, it's always a tough decision, Like sex, whenever the best sex comes, it's always like the weirdest time. And the weirdest situation, Like, it's never convenient. I think girls, they want to do it in the most inconvenient time,
I do.
They don't, they just, it's just instinct or something. Just then, right?
Yeah.
That's it, right then. Then, okay, everything's available. And then after that, the emotion's different, right? I mean, we were still friends and, hey, Bear, don't go there. All right, that's it. That's the fucking Cobra story there.